I did drown
All right.
twice. Puss.
All right. Pussy. All right.
I have actually drowned twice in my life.
Oh, damn. Hey, well, I'm a friendly stranger in the black sedan. Oh, won't you hop inside my car? I got pictures, got candy, I'm a lovable man. I'd like to take you to the nearest star. I'm your vehicle, baby. I'll take you anywhere you want to go. I'm your vehicle, woman. And by now, I'm sure you know that I love you. I need you. I want to, got to have your child. Good God in heaven, you know I love you. Yeah, those lyrics didn't age that well, did they? Really, you look back on that one, you're like, did it? But you know, it's the Eyes of March, man, and we're at the end of March. I felt like I had to give them the nod at some point, you know, just to really give that, you know, that one tune. Really, it's full. Like that was white dudes who could sing. You remember that? You were talking about that once, Greg. That was some white dudes
that one time.
White dudes that can sing.
That was some white
era.
And they had a horn section too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you can bring that, a white dude who can really sing with the horn section, fucking
What are you trying to say, Frank?
Well, I mean, that's just something special. Like, Earth, Wind, and Fire is the standard that you're trying to reach up to, which is, of course, you know, people who can sing, and then a horn section.
And then a horn section.
Right, but yeah, there, you know, let's say, you know, it's a bygone era. I feel like nowadays everyone's back to auto-tune and messing around with that shit, and Drake, and you know, figure out.
Wow. Do we need to name check? Well, I'll name check someone else. Speaking of soulful individuals, regardless of the hue, shout out and rest in power to Mr. Bobby Caldwell, who a lot of people found out last week was not black. So that's always. And I saw multiple articles come out. White people, if you didn't see these articles, because it's from black magazines, you know, research them. But multiple articles come out where people were listing all the artists that have been through our soulful ears, who have graced us with their beautiful voices, that people may or may not know are not black and are in fact white. And the only thing I could see from that list was how incredibly fast and short our attention spans are, because I'm looking at people who are not my age, not as old as us, but a little bit younger, people who should know. And the people that are bringing up, it was just like, oh my God, were you guys even paying attention? Like, I had to get 4 comment pages down before I even got to John B. That's just weird. I mean, like, you know, people are bringing up Color Me Bad. I'm like, why do we have to bring this? How do y'all not know this? Like, people can sing. It's just out there.
It's out there. You got to listen for it, but let's just bring it back to where people can sing. I do want that. I think I'm down with my brother.
No
Greg.
problem with that.
Yeah, we gotta look for the people who can sing it. Maybe, you know, I don't know. We had American Idol, but I don't know if that helped us or hurt us, or I don't know.
The jury's
I got
still
mixed
out.
feelings. I got mixed feelings, and it's been going on forever. And though we all know I've got my secret shame list of Kelly Clarkson tunes that I'll listen to and cry.
Hey, look, Kelly can bring it, so there will be no Kelly besmirching over here. I will say, if I'm going to argue anything for American Idol, which is now on a different, I think it's on ABC now. I'm not trying to. I mean, ABC, Disney. If you want to pay us, you can pay us, Disney. But I would say the only thing American Idol probably did do is help out the middling, you know, average singing white guy, which, to be fair, if we're, you know, a whole world operates off of stereotypes, especially our country. So mid-level black guys have been getting away with a murder in singing soul for like the last 30 years. So if anything, American Idol is kind of like, all right, look, we can level it out a little bit more. Like, you sing kind of country rock. All right, come on, Daughtry. Come on, man.
Come on, man. No, just
anyone. But like, there's a lot of guys who get to like top 4 in the last like 20 years. And the funny part is they end up probably having a better career than anyone who's won, other than like Hudson and Clarkson didn't even win. It was a mid-level white guy that won.
Oh, Clarkson won though, didn't she? Clarkson won. She was the
I
first.
thought Justin won.
Justin was the second, but they made a movie
Clarkson
together.
At
They
least
then
the
just
person won.
randomly slammed them together in a movie because they just had to keep that wave.
Well, that was
rolling.
at the height of American Idol. That was
that was
literally the
season
first-
one, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
this was
so-
everybody won. It's like Survivor, anything season
That
one.
dude that was ex Ryan Seacrest still had a career. I mean, it was way back in the day. This is like Jurassic Park days.
Yeah,
Huh.
and and we can see Simon Cowell being a douchebag. Okay, that's that's-
You would have to get me all the way back to that really nice lady. I think her last name was Boyle. And she came up not looking like she could sing for shit. And then she like belted out this amazing voice. It was like the American Idol moment. That's probably the only real thing about American Idol. Nope, Simon Cowell. Other than that, yeah, I've committed nothing about American Idol to memory.
That's fair. And that really fits with all of our personalities there. I just want to say, if you're just joining us for the show, this is the Steam Gentleman. Welcome to the show. My name is Josh. I go by the moniker of Birdman. You also just heard the voice of Rashawn, who goes by the nickname of Three of Clubs. And that last voice you just heard was Gregory, and he goes by the Star Child. And all three of those takes really fit our personalities, really 100%, because of course Greg's too cool for
Pretty
school. Rashawn and I are over here geeking out. We know our various seasons, and even
That was adorable.
confessing to the artists that we still listen to off that show, even though we feel like we shouldn't. At least that's how I feel. I feel like American Idol is the music industry putting its junk in my face and saying, you like it, that's it. And don't turn away. And it's like, yeah.
Excuse me. You banged that gavel because I'm pretty sure cassette singles and then CD singles were the music industry throwing their junk in our face. And
There's that too.
That was the height. There's nothing like asking someone to pay $12 for fucking 2 songs.
Yes.
Let's be real.
Yes, the cassette single really was like the heart of it. Yeah, that was a Roman war helmet, man. They just stuck that right on your head and said, "Take it. You can't get this song anyplace else."
They
You
said
want
it
to
to the
Einstein on the
They
beach?
said it to the earth because where do you think those those tapes were going?
All right.
Just
They're
thanks a
still
lot.
here.
Thanks a
They're
lot
still
for the
there,
extra
yeah.
landfill. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. But yes, you have, in fact, tuned into the Steam, gentlemen. We are down in the Steam tunnels. We are back. The triumvirate of geek is here. We are around the table. I'd like to say a welcome back to my friend Rashawn. How you feeling today?
What did you do? How do you do? How am I feeling? I'm feeling freaking tired, man. I had to work today, just like everyone else. A bunch of working stiffs. I had a bunch of thoughts I wanted to talk about, but then you started saying, so that kind of threw it off and just kind of killed it. Trying to show up and show out with your voice and all that. Oh, I did want to bring up for 2 words, original human or first man.
Okay, all right.
So
All right.
just so I can talk about how somehow I looked like Vin Diesel. But
Family.
yeah, well, he wasn't fucking around, was he?
No, not so much. Not so much. All right. Well, I'm still holding out for that dream of TSG karaoke night. So I'm not giving up on that dream.
Shit.
So that's happening. That's why I keep, introing with songs from time to time. Just want to show you my chops, show you what's on the list.
It ain't no game, kids.
we're gonna-
Ain't no game.
We're going to buy out that playlist that night. But Gregory, Star Child, how you doing today? What's going on?
Feeling lovely, man. Feeling lovely. Unfortunately, I'm not coming back from some, island paradise.
So
But we're having a good time.
All right. Throwing a little shade there. Just how that throwing just that tiny bit of shade in there. Just
Right. We over
Yeah,
here
bro.
asking this dude, how are you? Like,
yeah. Well, we're checking in.
he just
Checking
came off
in.
a vacation,
Little
island
sh-
paradise,
A little
if I
shout out
told
to
you
our
if I
friends
told
there.
you it sucked, would you feel better? Would you feel a little bit
cocktails and
better?
ass, just cocktails and ass,
Well, I'm married, so you can only guarantee one of those things, man.
cocktails and ass.
I got cocktails and I acted like an ass. How about that?
Yeah. He was
Somehow.
the ass. We
Yeah.
know that.
What were we talking about in the open?
But I started with the Ides of March. We talked about white guys who could sing.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, and then that led to American Idol. You know how we wander. You know how
what did we talk about after American Idol? What did you talking about in the open?
Man, Jesus, what are you, my grandfather? Jeez, do I like this? Did someone just bring you a meal and put it down in front of you and like you're looking at Sarah like, do I like this?
That
do
would
I
be lovely.
This? Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm feeling like right now. I'm feeling like that. Now,
I would like to point out to my wife, I did not bring up that idea. Josh brought up that idea. So don't hold me.
You're out together. It's gonna be one of those things.
I'm for it, but I didn't bring it up.
The oysters rock.
Being mad at me because I heard a good idea.
Josh thinks it's a good idea. What?
Yeah.
I like
blame him.
That's always what we I joke about that all the time with my wife about when we've reached that stage. But you know, that's got it. But it gets a little weird only because I happen to have the better memory than my wife, at least for now. So who knows, you know, but then again, you know how these things are. Memory is always selective, but we are here. We have reconvened here. We're welcoming Rashawn back. He was off last week. Shout out to my man Jack from Secret Police Podcast. Thank you so much helping us hold down the fort last week. But we have returned today to delve in to ask those questions that other pop culture and social commentary podcasts are afraid to ask. And here's a question I'm not afraid to ask you. While you're here, make sure to shoot on over to Apple or iTunes and rate and review us. You can do that on Spotify as well. Help us climb that charts. Help us make that dick pill money. We are still chasing after it. We're still chasing after the dick pill money or the therapy money or the Casper mattress money. Any of it. We'll take anything. I'll take any of your endorsements. I need the endorsements. I got kids. All right, we're just going on there, but help us, spread that word. Help us spread that nefarious, that secret underground agenda of the Steam Gentlemen to become podcast legends. That's what we're at. We want to take it to that next level in that podcast legends. But as being the case, we do like to come with the subject matter, even though it doesn't sound like it sometimes, even though we are a vaguely, just almost out of control shit show. This week
we have control.
Vaguely,
control.
Yeah, vaguely. But this week we have decided to convene and we want to talk a little bit about historical figures, history, people, which honestly, I am very proud to be in the presence of these two gentlemen who know their history. And I love it. I love talking with them. You have no idea how much we talk off air and we text each other all the time. And these guys they know their shit. It's on such lockdown. It's insane. And I've always grew up as thinking I was like this only history nerd here. And then I met these two guys. I
asked what we were talking about 5 minutes ago. This is looking like a plane crash already.
No, not at all. Not at all. We all in on it. But really talking about those historical figures who either need and deserve their own film and or maybe need an update. Greg pitched in just before we started rolling. Taking it on to that update, maybe, making it a little bit better, a little bit more palatable, maybe avoid that dreaded cancel culture.
Or maybe call it on.
Yes, that's cancel culture. What can we do? But we are here. And with that, let's start to think about those. That I want to hear. It's sort of our pitch meeting. We do these every once in a while, our pitch meeting, as far as that we go. And tell Hollywood, the movies that it's high time you get on and you start fucking making. All right. Like, let's get to it, Hollywood. We're sitting here. We're just $1 million idea. Got $1 million babies just popping out every day. Boom, 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 boom. It looks like the Duggars up in here, man. Looks like Mama Duggar. Just boom. Big idea. $1 million baby. Boom. How many are they up to now? Or, I don't know. Greg's looking at me. He has no idea who the Duggars are. That's okay.
I'm trying.
You're trying.
Well, that, and you may want to check the headline on the last Duggar headline.
Oh, Josh, yeah, I know. Yeah. Motherfucker shares my name, but all right, well, we'll move on from there. We won't go on there.
I remember who the Duggars are.
There you go. That's it. It's always that.
It took me a second to get there.
It's always the Josh that makes you remember that motherfucker. Yes, all right,
thank you. It was awesome.
Bitch, selling my good name. All
I
right,
needed that.
Greg, take it away. 10 minutes of fame. Tell us who needs an update or what historical figure you need a movie made about.
The best thing would be, we got to come out and make sure the people understand. We understand it's not a documentary. This movie is going to be made to entertain. So you're going to throw in
theatrical
something to keep, asses in seats.
A narrative, yes.
Exactly.
Theatrical
asses in
narrative.
seats.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I tried to think of people that you can either, make kind of gruesome, or maybe they're gruesome from the beginning. At least some kind of speech, right? I mean, it's going to be a summer movie. They're going to need like the big heroic speech, or if it's Oscar season, they're going to need the long, sad speech. Like, think about something that could really make a real decent movie. My first thought was, I remember pitching this idea as a research paper to my girlfriend, my wife, then girlfriend, on Warrior Queen Boudica. Warrior Queen Boudica was a Celtic queen, and she was just this huge, fierce fucking woman. And it was legend. It was legend. If Romans are going through the trouble of writing you down, you've definitely killed a lot of people.
Did you have to pitch in a thesis to marry Kim?
To who?
Did you have to wait? You said this was part of your thesis to your girlfriend?
No, it was an idea.
Why am I sounding like Tucker? Oh, what the hell happened to me?
He looks like Tucker Carlson at the moment, which is really frightening people, by the way. He's got that same confused look on his face.
A little bit, yeah.
No, this was something. I forgot what the point. Yeah, I think it was part of a history course she was taking, something like that. And they wanted her to do a report on a historical figure. And I said, I don't know why, but it was actually just like the first name that popped into my head. Because, I tell my wife to relish her waspiness, and I want her to be proud of her culture. So, I thought it might be good for her to do this story on the Warrior Queen. She didn't do it. I think she didn't do it. She just didn't want to say Boudica all over again. And the story does get pretty gruesome. So she turned that down, but I think it would make a great movie. Like her and her daughter, both of her daughters get raped by the Romans. And this woman in her righteous anger starts a rebellion against the Roman occupation. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. I mean, I don't want to give away too many spoilers because we know they're listening. But this story, including the heroic speech, including getting into a charge, and yes, there is a tragic death. But honestly, I think especially now, this is the perfect time to tell this story. Basically, it's going to be in what's the movie that came out? Was it Warrior Queen? No.
Warrior King, or Woman King.
It would basically be White Woman King.
Oh yeah.
Think about it that way. So I was also thinking of doing something like Nefertiti, because I think we need a movie about Nefertiti. One, because they need to understand that it would be a different dynamic, because, they're always examining that famous bust of hers, and they're always trying to find as much as you can, especially Black women. They love them some Nefertiti. So they're going to have to think of ways that you can dress up her story a little bit better, because she doesn't do much significant. Like there wouldn't be like mostly what she does, don't get me wrong, was exceptional for a woman at the time, especially since, her husband really loved her, it seems. But she didn't really do much. But you know what? That's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, you don't have to, totally Elizabeth Golden Age this movie, but you're going to have to at least give her, put a little bit more meat in that stew. You know what I'm saying? You're going to need to dress it up a little bit better. And while I'm talking about people that my wife unintentionally fell in love with also, we're going to say a movie about Saint Sebastian. Now, if you don't know who Saint Sebastian is, he actually had a really interesting life. So it wouldn't even be like a movie of filler and everybody's just getting ready, just waiting for the part where he gets filled with arrows. But he does get filled with arrows. He was an early Christian, and he was chosen to be executed, to be martyred. And so they literally filled him with arrows. Even though all of the paintings always have him looking so serene, it's okay. It's God's grace. He himself is filled with fucking arrows, and he gets taken out, but he somehow survives. He somehow survives, and this woman nurses him back to health. He goes back and shit talks the emperor again. Go ahead.
Oh, is that Caravaggio who does the famous painting of him, or I just wasn't sure.
I was actually going to get to Caravaggio next.
Oh, there we go. All right, go ahead. Sorry, didn't mean to stumble on you. I just want to show off a little bit to you, Greg. I'm like, look at my heart.
I don't know if Caravaggio has a famous Saint Sebastian.
Okay,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Continue.
But you know, he gets nursed back to health. He goes back, talk shit. This time he gets beaten to death. So he is the patron saint of archery and soldiers and athletes. Not kidding. Can't make that.
Always the patron saint of art. I'm sorry, it's the Jewish boy in me. When I hear I'm like, you did what? It sounds like a fucking cosmic joke. I'm like, wait, what? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You
that
Catholics,
happened.
you're just the first Reformed Jews. It's okay.
Yeah, there it is. I also would love to see a movie about Mensa Musa. Now, this is going to be tricky. This is going to be complicated because obviously seeing history as we do in this new light, I mean, he was, you know, the greatest Mali king. And so, yeah, he had slaves, like a lot of slaves, like all of the slaves. So you can either dance around that or you could throw it in, you know, like hard truths need to be told. So tell them. Anyway, this guy was so rich, exceedingly rich, that when he went on pilgrimage, he spent so much money and gave away so much gold that he toppled the economy of everywhere he go. He just destabilized every economy along the route all the way to Cairo. And like this became legendary. And the beauty of it is he literally put himself on the map, him and his people on the map, because they made a map with him at the top holding a gold nugget. Right, you know, so I think that would be a fascinating fucking story. I think if nothing else, you know, just being able to see all of that African opulence would be gorgeous, but there'd be plenty of room for other things too. There'd be, you know, battle scenes and shit like that, and you know, you could definitely see, you know, this thing being like the biggest production of since like Shaka Zulu. You know what I mean? It would be that massive. And oh man, yeah, I do. There is already a movie about Caravaggio. I think it came out in like 1983, around that time. But it's a terrible movie. No one wants to see that movie. That movie sucks. Fuck that movie. Caravaggio was basically a artist and a lunatic, you know, like he was obsessed with the macabre. He was obsessed with showing the gritty and grody side of life. He would roam the streets with gangs. He would hang out with drug addicts and pimps and prostitutes. He killed a pimp. He killed a guy. He had to go on the run. Then he had to become a soldier to work off his sentence. And in the meantime, he made some amazing paintings that have, you know, had a real long-term visual effect, not just in painting, but in movies and in photography. And the thing about him was, I don't know who you're going to get to play this man, like, I don't know, a young Harvey Keitel, but just the way that you can just channel, seriously, like just that hostility, you know, that hostility, like that festering hostility. Actually, you could even do like Joe Pesci, you know, young Joe Pesci, you know, with somebody with just that gnarly rage inside of them, you know, like that person is who you need. And I do want to throw in one remake. Not because I didn't like Braveheart. Everybody liked Braveheart. It was just the movie freedom.
Everyone except historians.
You fucking choked up. You choked up. But I do want to see a real movie about William Wallace.
Be nice to, well, he never sacked York for starters.
Yeah, like, you know, an actual movie. Yes, Sterling Bridge. Where's the bridge? Like, I want to see an actual movie about William Wallace.
I mean,
that I'd like to see. Oh, and a movie about Thomas Jefferson that tells like the details without Nick Nolte playing Thomas Jefferson, because that was just a terrible fucking idea.
God damn it. I mean, we gotta write the Declaration of Independence. All right.
The worst Thomas Jefferson.
Come on, Sally. I know I'm the father of a child, but
weirdly enough, I think it would be good for the public to see stories about medieval aristocracy fighting for the common man, because that's kind of what you're gonna get with Braveheart.
Yeah,
details.
I could live with it. Yeah.
All right, details, but
And
okay.
Yeah, not a commoner. Sorry, people.
Yeah, there is that. He did speak however many languages and
like 5. But to be fair, to be where he was, you sort of had to. English was technically 4 of those languages.
Yes,
at that time.
At that time, and also if you had any connection to royalty, you had to speak French and everything else. But he spoke Latin, wrote, but he was also literate, could read, write, all that. And
that says it all. Usually,
that's a big deal at that point.
Hey, cheers to literacy, because without that, you wouldn't have religion.
Cheers to literacy. We can agree on that.
Yeah, but only so much literacy, right? It's always about who has the literacy. It's a lot like
it's always about who has
the guns, who has the literacy, right?
All right.
When the wrong people, all right, we know it. We've been there. We've been there with history. All right, Greg, I'm digging that. I want to see some of those. Hollywood, get the fuck over here. Bring that money and let's make this shit happen. That's all I'm saying.
You can wire transfer. You can stay there, Hollywood.
I can
work virtually.
Hollywood, I will send you my Venmo. All right.
Cash App, Zelle.
Okay, all film.
Promissory note. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's it.
We're not going to make this hard.
Yeah. Send Ben Affleck again. That worked out.
Was it Zelle? Is that the newest pay form there?
It's pretty old. It's
pretty old, but I think they just perfected their app.
Okay. Hey, I'm Gen X.
They figure out how to not make it fucking awful.
I'm Gen X, 100% solid. It's all fucking amazing to me. Like, we're paying each other on our fucking phones, man. I mean, it's amazing, dude. This is awesome.
That made me think of a thought I had a couple of episodes ago that I really didn't flesh out. I'm going to flesh out right now real fast. That's what I meant by living in the future, in the sense of we don't have the hover cars. We don't have the shit that we thought we are going to have growing up in the 80s. However, here I am sitting here. My cat's fucking litter box is automated. Her best friend is our Zumba, our automated robot, who's basically Rosie.
You do have a robot. Yeah,
we do have a robot. And we can do things like download a movie at any given time on our phone, walking around and send people money and shit like that. So
Gen X heaven up in here. Fucking A. I'm with you.
I do not miss waiting in line to cash my check.
No, don't miss any of that. And I keep telling my kids are like, fucking pause the movie. And they barely see commercials, right? They have no idea. They have no idea. But
the line demarcation is who's rewound a video cassette and who hasn't.
Now, got a bunch of Gen Zers just looking at you with big old doe eyes. That's how that's going. Okay, taking it from the future back to the past. I'm going to step up for my 10 minutes of fame here. A couple of shout outs to historical films that you should at least check out. You can rag on me all you want through these things, as far as being woke, as far as pandering, whatever the fuck you want to see. The movie Red Tails, which was one of the last films that George Lucas, I think, actually had a hand in making. Really a worthwhile watch. Watched it with my kids. Really cool. World War II, the Tuskegee Airmen. And also, if you want to go back to a pretty decent job that HBO did, they made a film called the Tuskegee Airmen, about the same fighter squadron in World War II who painted their tails bright red to show what was going on, and ended up fighting for a country that was not fighting for them, without a doubt. But just pretty cool story, and how well they were able to defend the B-17s, and also that it was the end of the war, so they were seeing fewer fighters, but they did see combat against some of the against the jets, which is the Messerschmitt 262, which that's no bullshit, man. If you're up there in a piston-driven prop plane and you're going toe to toe with a jet, that shit, I mean, talk about, facing the future right there. That's worth noting, right? That is no bullshit. That's going to happen. So, definitely worthwhile, in checking out. But I feel a little bad, I'm kind of taking both these film ideas from my one of my other favorite podcasts, the one that helped inspire me to try and get these two guys to come along with me. I schnooked these guys into coming along and having a little fun. In Time Suck, the first one is one actually that he's been joking about, that he wants to, Dan Cummins wants to kidnap Catherine Bigelow and make her make this film. But it really is a worthwhile film, and it is pretty amazing. He's absolutely right. He's talking about the Night Witches, which were a squadron of women who flew for Russia during World War II. Now, Russia was, it's that weird kind of thing, especially Stalinist Russia during the Great Patriotic War. A lot of shit going on, a lot of things happening here, a lot of conflicting messages going, because in fact, they fucked up very badly and they were getting invaded and life was not good. They were not winning that war. They desperately needed the help of the rest of Europe. But the fact is they were also throwing their own people into a meat grinder at that point in time. So they needed all hands on deck. And in point of fact, they did say, all right, anyone who can fly. And we will put together a squadron of women, taught them how to fly, taught them how to dogfight. But what ended up being their bailiwick, where it ended up really being their specialty, they would fly at night, often in these trainer planes, sometimes in a Yak, that's the name of the plane that they're flying in. Some of their other planes were actually made out of wood, and some were biplanes. So just, generation behind already for a war, for World War II, which had taken a massive leap forward in technology, where they were fighting the Germans. But these women struck terror into the hearts of their adversaries of Germany. They would fly at night. Mostly, a lot of it was harassment, but they were very good at hitting their targets. They would, make it hard for them to treat. Actually, the name of the Night Witches is the German name that was given to them by the Germans. That they find out that they were women and they were being harassed and bombarded. A lot of times they'd fly in through flak and they cut their engines. They'd actually glide as they were doing this to turn their engines off, flying through flak, flying through all kinds of enemy fire. That is just ballsy as hell. Like, that is a hell of a story. That is an exciting story. And my man Dan's right, man. You put Catherine Bigelow in charge of this. You put some things there. There were apparently some love stories that happened between the women. Who knows? It's Russia. I don't know if they're going to really let those stories out, but a couple of the male pilots, a couple of the female pilots, you know how it is. It's wartime. It's going to happen. But it just is an incredible story, and one that has not really gotten a lot. I remember, the way I find out these things, often it's not even, these aren't mainstream historical books, and they're certainly not taught much in history classes. My dad used to love to build 1/48 scale models, and he and I used to build all kinds of World War II aircraft, and he loved it. And he built one of the heroes' planes that was one of the heroes of that outfit's planes. And that's how I first became even aware of what was going on. So, again, you can call me woke, you can call me all kinds of pandering, but fuck it. These women deserve a story. Like, that's a story right there. You've got the backdrop, you've got the war, you've got stepping up for your country. You needed to do it. It was against the Nazis, right? I won't even say against the Germans. It was against the Nazis. They're their own subgenre. And yeah, you get to cheer for that. You get to say, hey, fuck you, Nazi, go home. So that's number one. And the other, and this comes from our textversation that we have all through the week. And that Rashad, I think you put it the best, that I would have a poster of him if it was out there, if such a poster existed. And again, call me woke, but I was honestly unaware of the man until I listened to Times Like Robert Smalls, who was he was the first Black U.S. Navy commander, because he took a boat, a steamer, from the Confederate Navy, not only took it, escaped with his friends, escaped with his family, and defected to the U.S. Navy, right? Truly an impressive story. A lot of it goes back to both of these stories. I go back to the film Defiance, right? That was a refreshing film for me. It was just nice. It probably was not that historically accurate, and I've tried to read some more into it, and who knows. But, I have to say, as a Jewish kid growing up, seeing just Schindler's List, which is an important film and you got to see it. It was just nice to see one story where it was like people were saying, no, God damn it, I'm not going to stand for this. So in a similar fashion, it was nice to hear a story. And it's this incredible story of a man who took his time, just sat there, learned the entire craft, learned how to pilot that boat, learned all the signals, learned everything they had to do, and the sheer gutsiness, right? For, the men who were in charge, who were in the Confederate Navy of that boat, just seemed to forget, right? Just seemed to forget who was there, and went on shore leave one night, and he took,
forget. Is that what we're going with?
Overlook, just being,
I'll shut up for now.
He was one of the good ones, so articulate, right? But nevertheless, waited for that opportunity, but escaped with the boat, and his wife and his children and his crewmate's wife and children. I mean, that's what a daring ass escape, and how goddamn scary that had to have been coming out of Charleston Harbor, going and then using his services, taking over, and being given a command by the U.S. Navy and turning it back against that. Then later on, going back to the South and gaining elected office, right? I mean, that's the story does continue, that the man had a storied life and still, and obviously, I'm not saying it's an easy time then by getting, it's not saying it's a happy ending or everybody was just like, oh, that's okay. That's fine. No, he's dealing with, Reconstruction America and the beginnings of Jim Crow in the South when of course, the black men are finally allowed to hold office in the first place and allowed to have the vote. But, let's face it, you can have it one way on paper. You can say that you're allowed to have office. You can say that you're allowed to have the vote. Going out and doing it is another matter. But he goes back to the South.
Josh with the CRT.
Oh my goodness. I just brought the liberal agenda from the top ropes right there. Big elbow.
Let me help out. Let me help out. It wasn't just Southern politicians. I believe the term carpetbagger is something that people can't lose sight of.
There is that too. Without a bet, keeping it all in true historical
combo breaker.
Coming on in. That's a
whole country.
That is really a story that's worth telling. I think it's got all of the elements. It's got enough tension. It's considering, I consider myself pretty well versed on American history. And even into some areas of the dreaded CRT and some of the uglier parts of our American history. But I didn't know who this man was until last year. I was a little ashamed of that. But I'm glad. All I'm trying to do is keep my mind open enough that I can still hear these stories and still learn. That's all we're asking. That's all we're trying to do. I just want to keep my mind in an open place where I can still learn, and hell, keep my eye out for that, $1 million script. So Hollywood, Venmo me that money right fucking now. That's it. Boom.
Bang.
The Robert Smalls story.
Yeah, I don't know if
all
you
that
should
needs to happen. I think I agree.
Yeah, I don't know if you should feel ashamed. I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of historical figures. If you're gonna feel ashamed in the sense of like you loved military history and you didn't know that, I guess, but history is written by certain people and for certain reasons. So there's reasons why people don't get certain information. It's not good. It's not right. I agree with you in the sense that the Reconstruction period should actually get a lot more attention because it would probably make multiple people, reflect on their arguments, but I would argue definitely a large group of people. I'm not going to use words or acronyms. You guys can read between my fucking lines, but a large group of people have to at least reconcile some of the reasons why they feel the way they do when it comes to certain people's histories. And if they actually saw that there's a period in this country that for about almost 10 years, we're about as close to equal as possible, and it happened before the 1900s, I think it would be worth people seeing, when you get, because the thing is, people have to understand one, I think sad sequel to that would be what happened in South Carolina and North Carolina directly after people like Robert Smalls was elected into office, and why it took so long for a black person to be elected in those offices again. Because let me tell you, that feel good story that you just talked about, the sequel would be a fucking horror story, but it's actually historical.
Yep.
But the people have to understand, like, people imagine what you just said, and let's be clear, as if the entire area that Robert Smalls got elected in was nothing but black people who somehow had their vote completely taken. We were talking about the Reconstruction period. I'm saying we were closer to equal than probably a lot of people think, but we weren't fucking equal by any long shot. So to think that this black individual was able to get elected back then by just only black people is insane. So that's why I'm like, we should probably have way more movies on this shit so people understand, actually a lot more people who look like you, not me.
Without a doubt. I think that's what's important to show. I think it's what
I think, because I make that point all the time, because it's like, racists are always like, oh, whenever you attack racism, I feel attacked. I was like, there were other kinds of white people that you could assimilate to. Right. I mean, pretty much all along the, civil rights movement, there have been white people. So you can say that, maybe it's you not telling your whole story because you're not proud of it, because you kind of like the blacks being where they were. But there's plenty of, white contributors to the civil rights movement. Like, absolutely, make those movies. Throw that up in the CRT,
the dreaded.
We can work this out.
I did not want this to be part of my list, but I just for the obvious reason. But fucking, it's weird that we don't have a lot of John Brown movies, especially nowadays, because people need to understand who abolitionists
came to mind.
People think that abolitionists were basically nothing more than like carolers off season, or going around house to house praying and begging people to free slaves and black people. Not even close. They're just on the simple fact that they were down for, if we're gonna say all men are equal and we got people in chains, it didn't fucking sit well with them. And John Brown was willing to burn this shit down. Burn this shit down. Because the funny thing is, if you're a John Brown libertarian, I'm here to listen to you and talk to you. I may not like you because you're probably a racist, but if you're a John Brown libertarian, I'm here to at least talk to you, because at least I know you're not, when you say small government, you're not fucking around. Like, you really are just trying to say, nah, man, we're all equal. We're all supposed to be free. I don't fucking like you. I don't want you to be here, but you're supposed to be free. I'm willing to burn this shit down to make it happen. I'm like, all right, cool, man. We can chill. Right. we can do all right.
All right. Talking like that. With that, Rashawn, step on up. You got your first. You got a bonus entry there, but step on up for your 10 minutes of fame. Let's hear who in history you want to bring back out into the light.
Yeah, bringing up John Brown in this kind of conversation is basically like someone in a dunk contest who can do all sorts of dunk, and they just keep trying to do like a windmill. Like, we know you can do it, man. Relax. So I think John Brown's a little easy on this situation, especially for the three idiots that we are making up TSG. Like normal, I totally misunderstood the assignment, and I'm coming in here with half-ass homework. So fuck it, let's go with it and see what we got. And as my two colleagues have multiple times pointed out, I am probably, or should be, in a different state of mind, or at least calmer. But as people can hear, both from caffeine and a little bit more sleep than normal going into Monday, I am my normal hyper fucking self. So much so that when I slow down and actually speak with my normal tone and pitch and stuff like that, people think I'm sick. It's fucking weird. Actually, it's not weird. It makes me kind of think of what comedians say all the time. Like Jon Stewart, he's constantly pointing out that people think he's sick and there's something wrong with him when they meet him off camera. Anyway, so I'm just gonna go a little wild with it. I do not have the chops that Josh was making me out to be. This kind of feels like back in 7th grade when I somehow fucked up and got into the PSATs, because back in the day in Massachusetts, you took this test in 5th, 6th, and 7th grade. It was math and science, so that makes sense. No, it was math, it was English, so that makes sense, and then it was also social studies. I don't know why social studies was in there. I kind of felt like you might as well put PE in there as well, because the way I looked at history and the life I lived growing up with my dad, it was all just like second nature. So I was part of the Smart Kid group that got invited to the PSATs all because of social studies. I gotta tell you, those days are long fucking gone. So Josh is hyping me up, and I'm not gonna come all erudite like Mr. Starchild always does and constantly does, and just did. So let's have some fun with it. So one, if we're gonna go in a certain realm, I would like to hear from. I think it would be a good movie or TV series at least from the White House janitorial crew of, let's say, the past decade, or frankly, the second decade of the 2000s. You figure out what they're up against, but I would say it would probably be a very ranged sense of content. I think a few things we get covered, from both the mundane and kind of boring to holy shit, did that really happen again? So I would say that would be definitely a good group. I don't know, maybe focus on, think it'd be cool to do like an MCU series on Black Wall Street, like just completely expand and really focus on how Black Wall Street not only, forget about being there, how it really got there, how it was sustained, how it was really sort of an entity onto itself that actually the United States counted on before they burned it down. One of the multiple times this country has decided to cut his nose off to spite its own face, for a lot of different reasons. But I think it would be good if we had that, or if we're going to say a little bit earlier in the Wild West period, I think it would be cool to actually have a movie or, again, TV series on the Chinese immigrants that were very much responsible for a lot of the railroads that we have. And part of the reason why you didn't hear about them is because a lot of them were killed horribly by being sent haphazardly down into tunnels with dynamite that wasn't normally checked, didn't really care about. So I think the country would be good to hear about some of the individuals that helped build this country. Yes, slaves did a lot of it, and I'm never going to back down on that. And if you want to prove me wrong, go ahead and try. But there are other individuals that definitely have helped out and do not get their just dues. And the Chinese immigrants of the Wild West period are definitely a group of that. I sort of actually want to do a thing on, I think it would be cool to actually do an actual factual, do your best to call it right down the middle, moving on St. Valentine and St. Patrick. I think a lot of people would be very surprised when they find out exactly who they think they're celebrating every single year. And probably will start, I don't know, questioning a little bit of what Hallmark has been throwing at them the last couple of days. Last couple of years of their life, maybe their entire life. Hell, they may even wonder if Father's Day is Father's Day and Mother's Day is Mother's Day. I mean, it gets to the point where they're really going to challenge things if they actually understood who St. Valentine was and also who St. Patrick was. I'm not going to go into it because, again, I'm not that fucking smart. So I'll let you look it up. And wherever you land on that, you go ahead and tell me if that's what you're celebrating come February 14th and March 15th. I'm gonna say it's probably not. Sorry, St. Patrick's Day is a little bit different every year. Whatever. Or is it always the same? I don't know. I don't care. That's the point. I think also it'd be cool to do a movie on Tim Allen's drug partner. I think that would be pretty fun. And let's hear from that guy. On that situation.
Damn. Who was the hookup, man? Who got you that coke?
I mean, who was the plug for real? That's really what we want to know. And there's definitely a story there because he's never been brought up. I'm probably gonna fucking catch a cap for even bringing it up. It might even be from Tim Allen himself. And, he's trying to act like we don't ever see his mugshot. Great stash, though. By the way, you racist pig. This is a great stash. I would love to see a movie on the first person who looked at a bunch of wax. I'm like, yeah, light that shit up. Like, who the fuck came up with the candle? I want to do a movie on that. I want to hear from the person who somehow got to the idea of being like a candle from a bunch of wax. I think that's phenomenal to begin with right there. I think it'd be pretty good in a sad sort of effed up black comedy, which, by the way, fuck y'all who came up with let's call everything fucked up black. I mean, that is not at all the subject, but it's hard for me it's hard for me to even read that shit. Like, why does it gotta be a black comedy? Why can't it be a white comedy and things get fucked up? Someone gets shot in the head and people are laughing. I mean, what the fuck? Why does it gotta be all that? So I'd like to see a white comedy on basically 80s teen movie casters. That's what I want to see. I want to see That it would be like a Boogie Nights situation right there. I think it can be all over the fucking place. I mean, there's about to be a movie on the dude who I guess either promoted Tetris to make it big, maybe he didn't come up with it, but blah blah blah. Let's hear from the dude who came up with fucking Qbert, because what kind of LSD fucking trip were you on when you decide that not only are you gonna have a pyramid scheme to run this game on this platform, but you're gonna have this dude with a hook? And fuck it, y'all just look up Qbert. But I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, shit got so weird in the 80s, which is the reason why the 80s teen movie casters would actually be a great fucked up movie, because shit got so weird in the 80s that Qbert had a goddamn cartoon. He has his own TV show. So when you look up Qbert, people, and you see that fucking video game, you're like, how is this even a thing? Where you got so sorry for attention that this was entertaining for you? Yes, it was, by the way. So fuck you. But also, that got a TV show. So yeah, we really didn't care during that period.
No,
not at all. Not at all. So I mean, I could keep coming up with shit, but I think I've kind of stolen a lot of time left and right. So that's kind of all I got for you right now.
All right. I mean,
I'm sure I'll think of something randomly as you're talking, and I'll try to butt in and talk for like another 15 minutes. So yeah, I'll call it.
I mean, I get that, I really, the dude who came up with Qbert, I feel like Qbert did precede Tetris, in all fairness. Like,
no, he did. Well, actually, I'm not exactly sure, because Tetris was around well before we knew about it.
Well, true. In the US anyway, when it went viral, back before we called it that, when the
I think it was a DOS application first.
Yeah,
whereas Qbert was cartridge, so that puts it squarely at 83.
But it even and it even starts even hardwired into the big giant arcade machines, right? And by the way, I knew the patterns for the first 6 levels of Qbert. I could get the first 6 levels pretty clearly. Knew where to jump on the disc. And I forget, I used to know the names of all the villains there. They had the one villain who looked like a snake. They had another one who looked like a pig. It was trippy, man.
I actually didn't know they had names.
Yeah, they had names because, so to really just divert, and then we're going to jump back real quick. The arcade show that Rashawn was referring to was called it was Saturday Morning Supercade, which was they had Mario with Donkey Kong chasing after him. They had Pac-Man, who was the star of the show, and they'd only show you like one Pac-Man cartoon, but they'd show you Mario and they'd show you Qbert. And so that's how you get to know the names of those villains. So.
I think I knew that.
Yeah, come on.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
You're always there with your Cocoa Puffs or your Fruity Pebbles or your Tricks.
We were broke. There were syrup sandwiches.
Okay, all good. All right. Whatever it was, you had that Saturday morning sugary crap. So
yeah,
I definitely put on a decent amount of weight when I was a kid with bread, butter, and sugar.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, that was the 80s diet, dude. I mean, this was way before Atkins, man. This is like they gave you a cereal called Super Sugar Crisp, and it was part of a complete breakfast. They didn't even flinch. They looked right at you.
I'm just pointing out,
this is healthy. It has riboflavin.
No, I'm talking about lack of options.
All right, that too. All right, fair enough. We get it. We got to go in and give our high fructose corn syrup its due. This is America, after all.
This is America.
This is America, land of the high fructose corn syrup, because we grow a lot of corn. So fuck it.
You're talking to a person who, when he was a first grader, bought his own tub of icing to see if he can get through it by himself.
So good.
Did you say a tub of icing?
Yes.
Yeah, like
Crocker.
Like the little,
the little mini tub. Yeah.
But I saved up my allowance. I didn't tell my dad, who gave me $1 every single day to get to get a snack after school, because we're talking 80s people. I was walking to and from school at 6. I'm 6 and 7. And so I devised a plan. I figured out how much it cost. I saved my money. I didn't tell him. I just skipped snack for that week and a half. And then finally, I think it took like $7 because it was at a Christie's. It was the closest store I can walk to and get to. I bought it. I had to also wait because my dad worked part-time there, so I also had to wait for him not to be on shift. So I had to wait a little bit, but I bought it and went home and went ham for like probably inch deep. And then at that point, I was just done for the world. I mean, the next 2 weeks were just done.
Sugar coma.
I still want to try it though.
Like Carl from The Walking Dead. All right. You got that, Carl. Well, all right. Well, we Hollywood again. We've given you so many ideas. You owe us. So at the very least, get us some sponsors, Hollywood. Come on. That's the very least you can do. Get us out of our day jobs, get us onto the podcasting sphere. And you can help with that. Make sure to follow us on the socials. We are on Do You Even Steam Bro on Instagram. We are the Steam Gentleman Podcast on Facebook. What are we on Twitter, Rashawn?
The Steam G's.
The Steam G's. We're
Come be the third follower.
I'm gonna try one. There you go. I'm gonna try and put my head together with you, Rashawn, and get a little more active on the Twitter. On the Twitter.
Are you gonna up level me?
Yeah. It's time to level up, Rashawn. We're gonna level up together. We're gonna step on up to that next level. But definitely make sure to follow us. Make sure to throw us those reviews. We really need them. Maybe it's a few seconds for you, but it's means a ton to us. So we appreciate it. We're getting those fans out there. By the way, want to give a shout out to Ontario, Canada. I see somebody working through the back catalog. I see you up there, Ontario. I love you. I'm not sure if I'm related to you. It's a good chance. So if you are one of my relatives from my lovely wife listening through the show, I'm sorry.
Not sex, man. Just don't be worried about it.
Other than that, we know we love Canada. And there's one from BC, one from British Columbia out there too. So I don't know, whoever was listening out there in Vancouver, thank you. We appreciate that. Oh, Canada, we love you.
Oh, Canada.
Yeah, that's it. That's how it is. And, we could learn a few things from your healthcare. But as we head on out, Sean, what you got going on for the rest of the day, week, month, year, all that fun stuff?
Rest of today and probably well into an unnecessary amount of the week, I'm going to be trying to think about what I wanted to say in our opener. So that's gonna fuck some things up. Probably gonna try to curse a little less. I'm off to a shit-tastic start, and like normal, try and make it to the weekend where I do my best to get as drunk as possible. Real role model shit to me.
Role model shit.
Just clear it up.
That's it.
Can that be a shirt, please?
Yeah.
Real role model shit.
Great.
Role model shit.
Greg, good. On it. Right there, right there next to you. Took it too far, Willie.
Wait, we're really doing that?
Yeah, I think we should. I think people demand it. Come on, I just want to share out there. Just you took it too far, Willie.
Took it too far, Willie.
Speaking of taking it too far, Greg, how are you going to take it too far this week, or are you?
Oh, I'm not at all. Actually. Okay, I'm doing a collection of hands down some of the lamest grown-up shit that I don't even want to say.
Okay.
Because
make you say it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's one of those you hate yourself a little bit kind of thing. So
I'll text you about it later. You can tell me.
Yeah. It's just like, just absolutely lame grown-up shit.
All right. Yeah, I feel you. Well, I'm gonna be taking care of my kids, keeping them alive, always the most important things. We've been watching a lot of Bruins in the house though. Got a hockey player, so that's been some fun. I coughed up for the NESN app, which for those of you listening across the country, that's the local sports channel that carries the Bruins and carries the Red Sox. So having a lot of fun watching some hockey. Gabe got to see a shootout yesterday, so that was some good times. And the day before that, we watched the Tampa Bay game where they start beating the shit out of each other in 0.5 seconds, right? They drop the puck and then 2 separate sets of fights. We're like, fucking A. Went to a fight and a hockey game broke out. This is it, baby, right here.
I actually saw that opening. Everyone was talking about it.
Oh yeah, that was some shit. But hey, Bruins are like playing like a house of fire right now. So
historical,
having some fun up here at Boston Kid, watching them hit the ice. But we thank you so much. We really love anyone who will take their hour plus out of the day, listening hopefully on their commute. And just we hope to give you a little fun, something to think about, something that's, not too heavy, but asking those deep questions in pop culture and social commentary that no one else is brave enough to ask here with this fine hitting committee. As always, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, listeners, for coming on in. And this is Josh the Birdman saying, keep your heat up and keep your head of steam on.